South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, Triple Sevens, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book. Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
We don't make stuff up here.
I would only play the Pirates team total going under.
What the hell happened to Minnesota's pitching? This total has really crashed without plumbing the lineup.
I think this number's too high, but they're laying me the 6.
Oh, I know.
Caitlin Clark drives handle on the WNBA.
Never mind all these Mickey Mouse other stations. We are giving you hands-on information.
It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles and Alex White.
Good morning. Welcome in. It is a Thursday edition, a final day of July. I don't think either of us are getting traded today, but hey, you never know. The deadline's in 5 hours. I'm Jeff Parles. She's Alex White. Alex, hopefully we're here tomorrow, right?
Yeah, hopefully. You were not wrong. The last 24 hours were very exciting with the trade deadline in MLB. And of course, behind us, we've got football tonight.
Yes. You can pop the champagne for a game that will likely end 17-14 or something in that pocket tonight. But we'll talk Hall of Fame game because there has been, I know, shocking, there has been action on this here tonight. So it'll be interesting to see who's been bet, what's been bet. And as always, there will be no Justin Herbert. There will be no Jared Goff tonight, as we know, obviously. But we do know who's going to be playing quarterback, at least the split on the LA side,
right?
Entering today's game. So it should be a lot of fun here tonight across the board in Canton, as it always is. And you know what? I know maybe using the word fun a little loosely, but hey, it's football. So be in good shape. All right, Alex, we got to get to baseball and we got to hit it fast because there's only 3 games today, but of course there's one that goes in 3.5 minutes, so we got to get it. And that's the Yankees and the Rays. The Yankees have not been, yes, they traded for McMahon, they traded for Austin Slater, but would have hoped the Yankees were a little more aggressive here at the deadline. Again, still 5 hours to go, so still a chance to get there. They'll throw Marcus Stroman today against Ryan Pepio for the Rays. Rays in sell mode. They traded Zach Littell yesterday. Very possible that Pete Fairbanks gets dealt before the deadline comes later this afternoon. Yankees, are actually a dog in this game at plus 105 and a total of 8.5 in the Bronx. I
do agree with that movement there. I do think there's a definite advantage here with Pepio going over Marcus Stroman. Of course, Stroman hasn't pitched very much. I guess he has been back for a little bit, 5 now, since missing most of May and June, but not the best of starts for him yet. I still think it's going to take a little time. He's coming off of his worst start, just 3 2/3 against the Phillies, 4 earned runs on 5 hits, 4 walks in that one as well. So I'm a little concerned for him. I agree with that number. I think the best way to play it is probably the first 5, though, because besides the starting pitchers, I do think the Yankees are the better team overall. I do think their bullpen's better and their offense. So I would just lay that extra 10 cents, play Tampa Bay first 5 minus 130. But really, I mean, it starts soon. Not a bet I got involved in. Just a lean for me.
Yeah, in this American League wild card race, as we look at it entering today's action, and again, the Mariners and the Texas Rangers begin a monster series up in the Pacific Northwest tonight. That again, it won't tell the tale all wholly, but it's gonna push our narratives entering August. Basically, what happens in that 4-game series starting tonight at T-Mobile Park. Also, Mariners with the biggest move involving a position player at the deadline. The biggest move had come down this morning that involved the A's and the Padres, which we'll get to in a little bit. But there you go. Entering today, the Yankees are a game clear of Boston. They're 2.5 clear of both Seattle and Texas, who entered today tied at 57 and 52. Again, credit to the Red Sox. Be interested to see what Boston does here tonight, because I know Duran has been a piece that a lot of people are going after. Why, if you're the Red Sox, if you think you can make the playoffs, why would you trade a young guy with team control at least for another 2 years? But we'll see how it all plays out entering tonight's action and today's trade deadline this afternoon, Alex.
Pretty impressive for the Yankees, what we have seen from them the last few days, of course, with Aaron Judge leaving with an injury and now being out for at least 10 days. So, yeah, I mean, right there, this is a game they definitely need against the Rays. But Volpe having a good last 2 games, kind of silencing. I know he's been getting a lot of hate there in New York, but 2 games back-to-back home runs for him. So, yeah, a lot of guys really starting to step up there for the Yankees. Curious to see if they make any more moves.
I'm curious to see as well, Alex. Again, the trades are coming fast and furious. This was a slow-moving deadline until yesterday, and then really it was the Rodgers trade with the Mets and the Giants, and then bam, it's been just nonstop action for about 26 hours now since that trade went down about a little after noon yesterday here on the West Coast. All right, let's go to the other games today. And you know what? We mentioned it. Let's go to Seattle. And this is a mega series here for these 2 teams with the Mariners and the Rangers. 4 games. They are tied for the final wild card spot. They're both 5 behind Houston in the American League West. Again, it's all for the taking. And the Mariners, I have to give the Mariners credit because I went on a little rant yesterday. Like, of all the teams out there, if you're Seattle, it is inexcusable if you don't put your best foot forward to go get a Eugenio Suarez, which, remember, it's funny, Suarez just 2 off seasons ago was a salary temp to go to Arizona from the Mariners. So he's back. He's back in Seattle for a second tenure, and they needed to get it done. The Mariners needed to get it done. Naylor was a really good first piece. Now they go get Suarez. Now you have a pretty formidable lineup there. And between him and Raleigh, you have 2 of the best home run hitters this year in baseball. You still have a Rosarena. You still have Julio Rodriguez, where at some point you have to imagine Julio is going to get going. Even though he was an all-star, he's obviously had a below par year for what you would expect. But now the Mariners, who, Alex, you and I have talked about it all year, their starting pitching is as good as anyone in baseball. You can argue it's the best in baseball. They have a top-tier closer in Munoz. They're all set. They're set. Maybe one more small auxiliary room before the deadline comes this afternoon. But Seattle is all set, and they are more than capable of maybe even catching Houston, and especially, again, best of 3 series if they're stuck in a wild card series. They have starters, and they have depth to not be in trouble going into that second series as well. By the way, they're minus 165 today against the Rangers. Kumar Rocker on the Rangers side and George Kirby on the Seattle side tonight.
As a Tigers ticket holder and a little bit of a Houston exacta, I'm terrified now. I do think the Mariners have such a good chance to win this AL. I like all the pieces that they added. I do like their starting rotation. So we'll see what happens. Remember, my dad told us early in May that they'd probably win the AL because he didn't have all the tickets that he did last year. So this has been a starting rotation that we've been confident and behind for a couple years now. So to have the bats to go with it, I'm looking at RotoWire. It looks like they do have Suarez in as of right now. So that'll be interesting to see if he does play or maybe just come in for a pinch hit at the end, but looks like he is playing third according to this. I still think that number's just a little bit high on the on the Mariners. I do think that the Rangers can hang around in this one. Kumar Rocker, his numbers on the road look terrible, but those are from parks like LA and Sacramento and Tampa Bay. So if you take out those starts, I think he could pitch better here today. George Kirby's still trying to get back into his midseason form coming off of an injury, but we have seen glimpses of the old George Kirby. So that does make me a little bit nervous. I guess I'd just look for first 5, maybe Texas hanging in here. I mean, that total, Jeff, tells you a lot. And both of these teams have seen each other, and these two just kind of play each other this way with high totals, even though they do have some of the best starting pitchers. But right now, Mariners lead 7-2 to start the year. We know the Rangers had a very slow start. They need these wins, not just, of course, in the race, but just head-to-head with them.
Well, at 7-2, Mariners have already clinched the season series. So Texas has to get one game ahead of them if there is a tie, 13 total games. This is the last series between these two teams. They don't see each other again. So there's no more head-to-head. Like you said, 7-2 Seattle, it's already clinched. And, again, that makes the task a little more difficult for Texas, of course. And, again, it'll be interesting. This AL wild card race all of a sudden got super interesting with, again, even Cleveland getting somewhat back in it as well. The Guardians, even though John Morosi just reported that a Stephen Kwan trade is viewed as increasingly likely today. We don't know. Again, the Padres seemed to be the team that was in on him at first, but with trading Leo DeVries and the Mason Miller deal, that was the piece that Cleveland wanted back. So I don't know what would suffice now in a Kwan to San Diego deal, but we'll see if that ends up even happening later today. All right, let's get the last game of the day off the board, and then we'll go through more trade deadline discussion, and then of course Jim Harbaugh and Dan Campbell ready to go tonight with the thumbs up
As
at
they
all.
always are, those two.
Look, a high energy coaching matchup tonight. Even though again, how much coaching is how much importance is going on, except for guys who are trying to make the roster. Even though Detroit is an interesting backup quarterback battle that we can at least tell you about here in a few moments. Braves and Reds, this is the beginning of a 3-game series. Remember, on Saturday, they're going to Bristol Motor Speedway for that. That looks awesome, the setup at Bristol Motor Speedway in Tennessee for Saturday night. So super excited to see that. So they'll play 2 in Cincinnati, and then they'll go to Bristol for that Saturday night game. It's Abbott and Carrasco here today. Abbott's a big favorite, not surprising. That is a big pitching advantage for the Reds, and -180. Cincinnati's team number 7 in the National League right now, Alex. Again, the Giants are selling, and they just got swept in a homestand by the Mets and the Pirates. I think the Pirates have been so totally bizarre this year. But Cardinals are selling yesterday, so the Reds are they're the only ones who are on the outside looking in who have not sold here at the deadline. 3 games behind San Diego, even though the Padres, again, have been incredibly active with the deal they made here today. Big favorite, though, on the Reds.
No, of course, and they picked up another pitcher, which they have a very good rotation. Curious to see what they do. Is Littell, right?
So Littell came over from Tampa in that odd 3-way trade where the Dodgers traded their number 3 catcher for 2 potential lottery tickets that inevitably we'll look it up in 2-3 years and be like, how the hell did the Dodgers get this guy now? Probably.
Right, exactly. Yeah. That's true. That always seems to happen here. I really like Andrew Abbott. I think the only way to play this one, which I won't, but if I could bet on the Reds here, I would go first 5 -0.5 a run, -125. I do think that there is a big pitching advantage now. Carrasco, we haven't seen him in a while, but he has been pitching in the minors, and it hasn't been great numbers for him even there. Coming off of 2 of his better starts, and he's going deep into games, at least 7 innings pitched in the PCL. So we'll see what he can do here today. But, I mean, the Braves have just been totally given up, pretty sad offensively as of late. So I do think the Reds can get this one. I'm looking more just to back Abbott first 5, but I don't hate it for the full game either.
You know, I'll just say this with Atlanta. I'm a little bit perplexed that a Chris Sale trade has not come to fruition, or it hasn't even been rumored this go around. Yeah, there's a team option for next year. Braves are clearly chalking this season up as just a random bad luck season. And look, it can happen. I mean, Braves are 17 games under 500. They were supposed to be in the World Series chase this year as a three-headed monster in the NL East,
Right.
with the Mets, the Phillies, and the Braves. No, it has not been the case. And this NL has really just turned out to be, all right, there's two high-end teams in every division. The Reds are not quite there, but are reasonable. Giants have fallen off. Diamondbacks are full-on sellers, which have to imagine either Gallen or Merrill Kelly's going to go, or both before the deadline this afternoon.
Yep.
Again, there you go in the NL standings. Everyone is still tight. All three divisions are within 3 games. Mets have a half-game lead on the Phils. Phils just dumped 2 out of 3 in Chicago against the White Sox. We don't want to be doing that at this time of the year. Couldn't take advantage of the Mets getting clocked in San Diego for 3 straight days. Brewers took 2 out of 3 from the Cubs, so their lead is 1 over Chicago. And the Padres have gotten hot, and they're now within 3 of the Dodgers. So this is a race. And again, every team but, well, the Mets and the Phillies and the Padres have been pretty active so far at the deadline. We're still awaiting the Dodgers to do some sort of big move. The Brewers, we knew the Brewers were not going to be particularly active other than maybe a small piece here and a small piece there, just knowing what their payroll situation is. The Cubs have been missing in action so far at this deadline.
Did add 1 pitcher.
Yeah, that's still not enough for what we've been looking for the Cubs, where they get Andrew Kittredge, a relief pitcher, but I would have hoped that the Cubs would have done more. And look, there's still time, Alex, but if you look at the rest of the National League, where the Mets go out and fortify their bullpen, where they go out, they get Tyler Rogers, who has been outstanding out of the Giants bullpen. They give up a good amount. They give up Drew Gilbert, who is a top prospect who has struggled to get to the major leagues at 25. They give up Jose Buto, and they give up Blade Tidwell. Tidwell has pitched poorly in his few major league appearances this year, but was still a highly sought-after prospect. The Mets also then follow that up by going out and getting Ryan Helsley from St. Louis in a package that I thought was a lot more fair for New York. Only 1 top 10 prospect goes in that deal from the Mets to St. Louis. So the Mets trying to, with, again, their lack of starter depth, and maybe they add another starter in the next few hours, but trying to shorten the game with a bullpen that is now, them and the Padres have the 2 best bullpens in Major League Baseball on paper. So the Mets do that. The Phillies go out. They just traded for Harrison Bader while we were on the air. Nice small little auxiliary move, helps their defense in center field. Now, granted, that doesn't really help their bat. Bader is a better bat than what they've had out there, but still not a strong bat. Probably takes them out of the Luis Robert Jr. and Quan sweepstakes more likely than not. But really, the big one yesterday was they go out and get a Duran from the Twins, and they give up 2 top 100 prospects. But you know what? Duran's under control through 2027. That was a solid move. I thought that was a win-win for both the Twins and the Phillies yesterday.
No, I agree. And I do agree with you that both those teams, Mets and the Phillies, definitely made some moves that were needed for their bullpens. And yeah, I mean, it is funny with the Padres. I was pretty surprised to see that move from them because they already had one of the best bullpens. And then they just solidified that, adding Mason Miller from the Athletics. And I still think they need a bat to go with them. But it was Soroka from the Nationals that the Cubs did add. So they do add another starter there. But I thought we'd see a little bit more from Chicago. So we'll see if that comes a little bit later. But I'm not surprised with Milwaukee that we haven't seen anything.
Yeah, so Kittredge and Soroka, totally missed the Soroka deal that was in the middle of the night last night. But again, if I'm the Cubs, I need more. They're the team that should have gone out and made the big splash. Now, the weird thing with this market is the starting pitching market has really still not really gone yet, where the Cubs could go trade for Zach Allen. They could trade for Merrill Kelly in the next few hours. And you know what? That would suffice for what the Cubs need. Now, Soroka at this point is a back-end starter more so than anything. Kittredge is a solid reliever, but nothing strong. I would have hoped more from the Cubs. And you and I agree, like we said. Again, the Brewers would be just small auxiliary moves here and there. Just that's how they operate. The Dodgers have been incredibly quiet, which kind of scares me that something large is coming in the next few hours. And then you mentioned the Padres. The big one this morning, which really, yeah, it was rumored last night, and you kind of think, all right, well, Preller's at it again. He's going to do something pretty wild. Like, again, we've seen Preller has been traded for Juan Soto at the deadline in 2022. It led to an NLCS appearance, was aggressive last year in the bullpen. They were one win away from knocking out the team that ended up winning the championship. Now they go out and get Mason Miller and JP Sears from the A's this morning, and it cost them a lot. Cost them their best prospect and one of the best prospects in baseball, Leo DeVries, the young shortstop, who, look, for when the A's timeline is to move to Vegas, he should be ready by then here in 2028. A's might have a pretty darn good lineup by that time, especially with Kurtz. Soderstrom, by the way, apparently not getting moved today based off reports. I know Rooker will be 32 by then, but still will be able to hit. But boy, this is, for a Padre team that already has a loaded bullpen, I was a little bit floored that they were willing to give up. If I were, and again, look, AJ Preller is significantly smarter than I am, but I think the assets would have been better suited to go get Stephen Kwan, go get a big-time bat. The Padres are starting to hit right now.
Yes, they are.
But they're still one bat away, I think, from being looked at as okay, as opposed to being, they're going to be in the playoffs. They're going to need some luck in order to make the World Series. Like a solid amount of luck to, you get one more big-time bat, they become a legitimate threat to win the NL. And look, they're only 3 games behind the Dodgers. They can still catch LA and send LA to a wild card series, which would create all sorts of chaos in the National League, Alex.
It'll be interesting. I'm still curious to see if they do make that move. I'm with you. I think they are still one bat away, but it is nice. They have definitely started to hit better. So just another addition, I think, would really do it.
The AL side of things, because we really looked at the NL, the AL side, the most intriguing, other than Suarez, which we already mentioned, great job by Seattle getting the bats they needed at the corner infield positions. Seattle is very much poised to make a deep run in the postseason, assuming they get there now. That roster is as solid as anyone in the American League. The most intriguing deal that happened other than Suarez and Naylor in the AL was the one involving the Guardians and the Blue Jays that came down this morning. Because Shane Bieber's rehabbing from Tommy John surgery. He pitched in Double-A about 8 days ago. And the Blue Jays give up a pretty solid prospect to get Bieber. There's a team option for next year, so it could be a year plus. That one's interesting because Toronto, doesn't truly have an ace. They have a lot. They've solid threes to me. They have a whole collection. Gosman at his best can be an ace quality, but we haven't seen that. They have a whole collection of number 3 starters in my book. And they just, until that epic comeback yesterday in Baltimore, they look like they're about to get swept out of Camden Yards by a last place team. This is an interesting one because when Shane Bieber's at his best, Shane Bieber is a bona fide ace. He's one of the 10 best pitchers in baseball. But he's older. He's coming off major surgery. If he's able to pitch this year, Alex, how much are we truly getting out of Shane Bieber for, again, a Toronto team that could have the American League, and let's face it, could have the entire postseason through their building because the number 1 seed overall between the AL and the NL, Milwaukee holds that at 64 and 44. Toronto's the same amount of wins. They just have 2 extra losses because they played 2 extra games, Alex.
It's very interesting. I would be a little bit nervous because we've seen it with so many guys coming off of those big injuries. I mean, we're just talking about George Kirby, who's pitching today, who is a top 10 pitcher in the league, and it has definitely taken him some time. So whether or not he'll be ready to go by the playoffs, that's only time will tell. And it is kind of a little bit of a risk there for Toronto, but it could be high reward.
Tigers, we already know they did the trade with Minnesota earlier in the week with Paddock and Dobnik coming back. They trade for Kyle Finnegan this morning. Yep. From the Nats. Again, it'll be interesting to see if the Nats decide to trade Mackenzie Gore or not. That seems to be the name that's floating around a lot. Three this year plus 2 of control. All-star this year. He has struggled a little bit of late, but I doubt Washington ends up moving him. But again, there are a lot of moves that could still be done over the next few hours. Astros traded for Ramon Urias from Baltimore to shore up third base.
Nothing from the Rangers.
Rangers have been quiet.
Very quiet.
Yankees have had a few small moves here. The Red Sox traded for Steven Matz yesterday, so not a huge move. Not huge moves on the Red Sox end. Obviously, their big move was a selling move. That's worked out perfectly with the trade of Devers, and the team has become much better since subtracting arguably their best players.
It looks like the Red Sox are in it for Steven Kwan, so we'll see if that does work out.
Yeah, if that would be an interesting. Kwan would be great there. Just slap the ball against the monster the whole time. Be interesting to see. By the way, Philly's sending their number 10 prospect over for Harrison Bader and one other piece. That's super interesting. In all honesty, I don't think Bader's that useful of a piece. It's pretty similar to what they already have out in center field, but a veteran guy. Well, by the way, that's Bader's 5th team in 3 years now. Because he's been traded at the deadline twice now in 2 years.
Any concerns with Ohtani and him leaving the game yesterday?
They said it was cramps.
Okay.
That's what they claimed. Again, I don't know. I could be playing close to the vest, but they claimed it was cramps. So if it's just cramps, you can't really be worried about that, right?
Okay. All of this following this trade deadline, and then, of course, I didn't read too much into it.
It looked bad. I mean, throw 5 pitches that are not close in a row, and then you come out, especially a guy coming off Tommy John, like you're concerned that there could be some sort of injury. But, yeah, Dodgers said it was cramps. So we'll see what it is. Dodgers did just make a move. They trade for Brock Stewart. So small little move, bullpen help for the Dodgers. Again, the Dodgers also may just be getting their own help from their own building because Blake Snell is making his return tomorrow in Tampa Bay, of course. Again, we'll keep you updated if anything happens while we're on the air. By the way, Morosi just reported that the Dodgers are looked as the front runner for Kwan, so that could be the big move coming in the next few hours. But we'll keep you updated as we go along here on the show.
Of course, there is a game started now, so you can't really find division odds or pennant odds right now. But curious your thoughts. It sounds like you are pretty high on the Mariners now for the AL, even though you're.
If at the current moment, the Mariners and the Tigers, to me, are pretty clearly set up as the 2 best teams in the playoffs in the American League. Now, the tricky thing for Seattle is that more likely than not, they're going to have to go through the wild card round, which makes it a lot more difficult. They might even have to be on the road, which makes it more difficult. I still don't buy Toronto as a legitimate World Series threat. I don't think, even with adding Bieber, I don't think that pitching's good enough. Both Seattle and Detroit's pitching is more than good enough. Houston's pitching is also more than good enough. Yankees, I don't trust at all. Again, Cashman, wake up. Do something a little bit bigger than you've done. And the Red Sox aren't a real World Series threat. So, to me, it's a 2.5 horse race.
Yeah.
And I didn't mention Texas, but I still don't fully trust that lineup, even though they started to hit over since the All-Star break. But to me, it's Seattle. It's Seattle and Detroit, and then Houston's the 3rd team. And then the NL, all 6 teams that are in there are alive. Everyone's alive. All 6 of them. The Mets, the Phillies, the Cubs, the Brewers, the Dodgers, and the Padres. All of them are alive. I think the Brewers are probably the least equipped to go on a deep playoff run because in the end, that lineup is the weakest of the 6, even though the numbers don't necessarily delve that out. On paper, they're the weakest of the 6 lineups. And they're currently the best team in baseball, but I think they are the least equipped to go to the World Series. But boy, the other 5, the Phillies now having a true closer who is dominant in Duran. The Mets and the Padres have 2 2015 Royals-style bullpens where they can shut it down after 4 good innings from your starter if you want. The Dodgers are the Dodgers.
Yep.
And the Cubs still, to me, are the best lineup in baseball. So all of those teams, all 6 of them, even though I don't love the Brewers, all 6 of them are alive at this point, Alex.
I can't really argue with either of those, especially, starting with the AL, I agree with you. Seattle and Detroit, definitely. And then Houston right there. Texas, I never really thought they could go on a run here. I just thought they were one of the 6 best in this conference. Toronto, though, does scare me a little bit because, if they can lock it down enough, their bats, they can definitely get going hitting-wise. And that kind of is the opposite there on the NL, and you brought it up with the Padres and the Mets. I mean, if they can shut it down and they only need a few runs to win these games and they're very low scoring, I could definitely see that happening. So it's getting fun. It's been fun. Very fun baseball season this entire summer. So
yeah, the National League playoffs, assuming that the Reds don't crash the party. Sorry, Cincinnati fans. You're not there yet. Next year, do it.
Hey, Hunter Green is pitching too. I mean, they've got the pitchers, definitely.
Yeah, no, look, but to me, the top 6 in the NL at this point is just so high end. And look, the Reds might win 88 games and miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's just what the NL might end up being here. But boy, those NL playoffs, any collection of matchups, you're going to have a hell of a postseason, which probably means that the American League team is going to win the World Series more likely than not after I've said all year, even though I picked Detroit at the All-Star break to win it all. So, all right, let's get the Hall of Fame game here, Alex. We talked a lot here about the deadline here today, but here's the Hall of Fame game in the NFL. You made it, everyone. You didn't even have to make it to August, by the way, in order to get a football game back. So it's the Chargers and the Lions. So, Alex, I understand hard to bet here, of course. So they've bet this over, actually, from the opener 32.5. Got as high as 34.5. Now it's at 34. Again, comically low total. We know how it is. We know the deal. This opened a pick. Now it's Detroit -2. So here's the quarterbacking situation here tonight on the LA side of things. The Chargers are going to start Trey Lance, and it sure as heck looks like DJ Uiagalelei is going to play the second half tonight for LA. The Lions, they have a legitimate battle for the number 2 quarterback spot between Kyle Allen and Hendon Hooker. It's going to be those two guys tonight, so a little bit higher end than you would anticipate in the Detroit end. That's why the Lions are getting bet in the market where, again, we haven't seen much of Hendon. We haven't seen Hendon Hooker at all at the NFL level because of injury. And we know Kyle Allen at this point. Kyle Allen's been around forever. He's a bottom tier, a bottom half backup, I would say. Clearly better than a number 3, but not really looked at it to me as at least as a high end backup
Right.
at this point. But those guys are better than Trey Lance and DJ Uiagalelei. So I understand why people are betting Detroit. I'm not doing this tonight. My brain is, as much as we love football, my brain's just not ready for it here tonight. So I'm staying out of this game, Alex.
No, and really trying to handicap and diving into each roster of what you think, right, is going to play. I did hear one interesting thing that the Chargers would be playing more of their second string and their rookies. So might see some Omarion Hampton going for the Chargers in the first half. So if you look at the lines, I'm seeing it pick for the first half and then the Lions favored for the full game, which I think makes total sense. If I were to play it, it'd be just that way, right? Chargers win the first half and have those second string or their true rookies in there. I think Trey Lance, too, is really playing for something as well. As you mentioned, the quarterback battle, but we haven't got to see much of him, and he's still trying to prove himself or why he was drafted where he was. So first half Chargers, second half Lions. No money will be placed down for me, though.
So Lance is starting. By the way, Chargers favored in the first half in part of that.
Okay.
I think the market is trying to get out in front of Uiagalelei here tonight.
I think so, too.
But
the decline last year that we saw.
We were never really that good at Clemson to begin with, but boy, the Florida State tenure was as bad as you could have asked for after actually looking like a reasonable quarterback at Oregon State that one season. But, it's tread carefully, at least with the Hall of Fame game. Again, we'll have trends next week when the full preseason starts. But the one issue is everyone knows them now, including the guys behind the counter with a lot of these full-on preseason trends, Alex.
Well, and to your point, it used to be unders, and now we saw 3 straight overs. And of course, last year we had weather, so depending on if you got paid out or not. But I think that was more for the Bears win, right? Because they didn't complete that game. And 3 dogs in a row, so that's funny that people are jumping on here for the Lions, but it did open pick. So, I mean, there's really no going either way with that favorite or dog there, but 3 straight overs. So we'll see what we get from these guys. I imagine a lot of running, though, from both of these 2 coaches in the Hall of Fame game.
Should be a lot of fun. Chargers and the Lions here tonight. Hall of Fame game in Canton. It always feels like the weather screws this game up every few years. It did last year. as we know. The weather tonight in Canton
Should be good.
there's no lightning. So that's the good thing. It's going to actually be pretty chilly, all things considered, tonight, because there's rain early in the day. It could be 61 degrees. That's pretty cold for essentially August in Canton, Ohio. Football weather, as they would say, right, Alex? Here tonight in the Hall of Fame game. All right, we're going to take a break. When we get back, I'll give you the trivia answer. If there's anything on the whiteboard, Alex will tell you. If there's not, we apologize. Not a lot on the card here today. Not a lot of meat on the bone. When we get back, Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
Once you've satisfied your hunger, get ready for more of the hottest casino games in Vegas. Our 24-hour, 30-table non-smoking poker room proudly hosts all the most popular poker games with a variety of betting limits. Visit the poker room for a schedule of daily tournaments. Whether you're going to hold 'em or fold 'em, the best place for poker is at South Point Casino. You'll notice that our craps tables are usually the loudest in the casino. If you've never played, join one of our free craps lessons to find out what makes this game so exciting. Check with the craps dealer for schedules and give it a roll. Bingo is also an exciting way to spend your time. We offer 7 sessions of bingo every day. And each session includes a cash ball jackpot, 12 bingo games, a progressive double action game, and a $10,000 bonus coverall. Electronic units are available. If you haven't played bingo with us, give it a try today. Guests can also get in on the action at our one-of-a-kind race and sports books, 2 separate rooms designed to maximize your experience and comfort. Our sports book, with over 400 seats, puts you right in the middle of the action, 24 hours a day. The friendly ticket writers are happy to help, and it's conveniently located next to the famous Del Mar Deli, where you'll find supersized portions of delicious deli items like roast beef, pastrami, and Reuben sandwiches, or soups, salads, and pizza, plus spectacular desserts fit for a king. And right next door is the race book, over 150 seats, each with its own TV screen. There are 16 interactive player terminals, so you can bet right from your seat.
Welcome back in. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White. Alex, do you want to show everyone the whiteboard today real quick?
Make sure I don't have anything on that side.
Yeah, so clean slate here today, everyone. So enjoy the day, take it off, watch the Hall of Fame game with a beverage in hand, and don't worry, we'll have more plays tomorrow.
That's right.
Yes, so don't worry about that.
Full slate, maybe even a college football play.
Well, we will actually, you know what, I'm happy you brought that up, Alex, because we can both put it in our hands. Of the games of the year here at the South Point will be available at the start of our show tomorrow at 10 a.m. So if you're a big-time college football bettor, or if you're any college football bettor whatsoever, come on down. Chris will have about a sheet and a half worth of games of the year, beginning with games on September 6th, going all the way down to the Army-Navy game on December the 13th. They'll all be live tomorrow at 10 a.m. right here at the South Point. Chris Andrews will also be joining us at 10:30 tomorrow morning, so we'll be able to talk everything through with our fearless leader on the show tomorrow. So those games of the year coming out here on Friday.
I have a feeling you might have a couple leans for those games of the year.
Well, I will tell you right now, either our guy Vince or our guy Sean are going to be busy running upstairs and getting the sheets when they're publicly posted here today, tomorrow, I should say, here at the South Point. You know, just eyeballing this sheet, the game I'm most intrigued from Chris and Vinny and company upstairs is one that may not be one that you would expect.
Okay.
September 20th, Illinois goes to Indiana. Illinois could be this year's version of Indiana from a year ago.
Correct.
Indiana's schedule is harder, but the roster might actually be better than it was a year ago. So
Yeah.
That's an intriguing game. Very intriguing game early in the season in Bloomington between U of I and IU in early goings. All right. The trivia question and answer before we get out of here today, Alex. Here's the question. On this date in 2012, I should say. This date in 2012, Michael Phelps won his record 19th Olympic medal, making him the winningest Olympic medalist of all time. Which event did Phelps earn the 19th Olympic medal in? And how many total Olympic medals does Phelps have? So it was in the 4x200 freestyle relay in London, the men's, that Phelps earned it. Secured his 19th level Olympic medal, winning gold with Ryan Lochte, of course, was very successful in his own right. Connor Dwyer and Ricky Burns in London. In total, Phelps ended up winning 28 Olympic medals. That's a record that may not be broken anytime soon.
I don't know. Yeah.
23 golds over 4 different games for Michael Phelps, the best to ever do it in the pool. And it was JR who got it right tonight because he gave both parts of the answer. Nick only gave one part of the answer. So JR gets the W, but it's not enough to catch Nick. Nick wins 10-9. See that one day that Hawksmoor Mirabelli's won, tilted the scales in the 2 days. Hold on, Vince. You didn't even put it in the standings. Our own Vince has 2 wins this month. Congratulations on a bronze medal, Vince.
Yeah, that's right.
There we go. Let's applaud. Hey, look, we're looking for more people to compete with JR and Nick in the trivia. And it's a new month that begins in August.
It wraps
As
up
JR's
today.
got 2 months, Nick's got 2 months. So heading into the non-football season part of the calendar, Alex,
That's right.
come down to August for Nick and JR. All right, that's what we got for you. Gone Racing's coming your way later today. Jeff and Brendan, get you ready for this week in NASCAR as always on Gone Racing. Will be available on YouTube later today. You and I are back tomorrow at 10 a.m., Alex. Chris Andrews will be here. College football games of the year, a full Friday card in baseball.
That's right.
The dust will have settled completely in the baseball trade deadline, so we'll be on the lookout for all that. We're back tomorrow. Go ahead, Alex.
More previews coming out daily.
Yes, more
Keep an eye out for those.
Keep an eye out every single day. Our NFL preview is available on the Sports by the Book YouTube page right here. All right. I was going to say good luck, but there's nothing to wish good luck on and just having a good day, right, Alex?
That's right.
More than anything. She's Alex. I'm Jeff. We'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. right here, Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.